welcome back to the World Masters Ultimate Club Championships. Keed Miller-Falter, 100,000 welcomes to Limerick. Action now from the Mixed Masters division with Fly High Lusanne from Switzerland taking on India's Learning to Fly. Joining this game in progress with the teams knotted at 1 apiece. My name is Benjamin Rees, joined for this game by the one and only Troy Weston.
Good morning, Benji. And if you're just joining like we are, this game is sitting at 1-1. Both teams coming out with a clean offensive point, no breaks as of yet in this game.
Played short. Akela. Now Zemmel. Akela. Faking a big flick. Instead, a scorching inside shot to the end zone is going to work for the score. And a 2-1 Learning to Fly lead. Lovely little throw, that one.
That was a huge inside break there from Learning to Fly. Just seeing that player wide open, streaking to the break side in the end zone, made that IO flick look easy.
Yeah, waits on this for an awful long time, thinks about it, and then is able to drop that weight, get low underneath the mark, and really shoot it across the end zone. Wesley Thurman's rating and ready to catch for the goal. It's a another changeable day weather-wise in Limerick. Had a little shower of rain earlier, but the sun has come out. Still a bit gusty out there, and the wind does bring a bit of a chill factor into it as well. So certainly wrap up warm, but also pack the sun cream just in case.
Learning to Fly hailing all the way mostly from Bangalore in India, and they want to say hello to all the folks back home and also the club teams back home in India.
Yeah, it takes a little bit of international flavour on the stream first up for you this morning. Fly High Lusanne back on offence. Nice gain underneath to Bay. Bay finds Bertzio. Bertzio wants to put it into the end zone, and they just work it down that foresight over and over and over. And Elian Lehman is there in the end zone to make it 2 apiece.
And another clean O point we see on this field. No turns or drops or missed throws or catches as of yet. And of course, as I say that, hopefully that continues. It's really nice to see some clean offense as the wind is at a minimum this morning.
Yeah, it's always a little bit of an adjustment when you're used to playing in windy conditions, then all of a sudden there's no breeze to account for. But keeping your fundamentals is always good because you never know when it might pick up again. We're not quite so sheltered here as we have been on the previous days, so there should be more of a consistent wind direction rather than having the swirly style wind that we've seen already this week.
Fly High Lausanne, hailing all the way from Switzerland. I think all of them are mostly from Lausanne, not a lot of people from outside that area. But they do have a squad that's been playing together for almost 10 years.
That's not bad, that. Good run going. Pulling here to Learning to Fly. Little of a misfield on the pull. Now they swing around the back to Shilpa. Again, Learning to Fly getting what they wanted with those swings, but eventually Learning to Fly crack it open. Swung around the back. Lausanne calling for Limerick force, which seems to be forcing them to backhand all towards the sideline at this point. Pick downfield.
That was a lovely leading pass we saw. I love those passes that are just in front of the handlers when their mark isn't looking and have no chance on that, really.
Yeah, you want to try and mirror the receiver's hips, but it's tricky if you overcommit. And then going up line for his second goal already this game is Zemel to make it 3-2. He is certainly going to be a player to watch for this learning to fly side.
He is coming into this game with totaling 14 assists and 9 goals already, top of the scoreboard for learning to fly, and we can see why. He is pivotal in this learning to fly offense.
Both sides have had mixed fortunes so far this week. Got some wins in the win column, but obviously some losses as well.
Learning to fly coming from the larger pool in the pool play. They're coming to this game with a 2 wins and 3 loss records, and it looks like all of their games have been really close so far, within 2 or 3 point differentials. Fly High coming in with a 1 win, 3 loss record, but also some really tight games in their pool. So this should be a really good game to watch.
Another 0 point here for Fly High. Still no turnovers in this game, 5 points through. On the near sideline, Gallon finds a nice little pass down the line to Lehman. Continuing it. Feels like maybe one throw away from the end zone. Stoppage on a pick. Travel. I did not see the hand signal. There we go. Too much throw and not enough. No, too much go and not enough throw, perhaps. Got that the right way around in the end. Line to fly sideline, trying to stop that shot, but they can't do it. Now continued. Just forcing it in there, no. Just gonna play it around the back a little bit more. And now they try and find an open up space for the up line cut. Brilliantly done. Both teams working that space beautifully.
And we're seeing Berzio and Guandagno adding 2 more points to their stats scores. Both of them are actually top of the stats list for Fly High as well. Berzio with 4 assists and 10 goals so far this tournament, and Guandagno with 11 assists and 1 goal this tournament.
Not a bad return, that. From through 4 games for Fly High Lausanne, as opposed to the 5 that Learning to Fly have played, as you mentioned earlier, coming out of that larger pool. 33 teams in the mixed Masters division, which, if you will know anything about writing schedules, is a bit of a nuisance.
Even teams is definitely an easier schedule. I've heard that 13 teams is possibly the worst one you can do.
All of those prime numbers are not ideal. So I'm beginning to burst through the crowds and the clouds here in Limerick, which I must say is most welcome. You'll notice the description in the screen calls this sunny, sunny Limerick. It hasn't necessarily been this week, but this looks quite nice. Trying to keep it on the line and a little bump on the mark. What can they do with it? Get it past the bidding defender towards the far side of the pitch. Now, just across midfield, Zemel makes a strong reset cut and he gets the disc. Looking for options downfield. Nicely broken around. Continuation. Calls for transition from the Lusanne defense, and there's going to be another pick. This is calm and patient so far from both sides offensively. Don't look like they're going to really make any mistakes, and you'll have to work hard to force turnovers.
Yeah, I mentioned that Fly High has been playing together for 10 years. You can really see it as their cuts, timing, and the flow of that offensive movement is just smooth as butter.
So back in with Zemmel. Shooting for the end zone and bang on the target to Kartik. That'll be 3 all. Both sides again. They've come out fit and firing in this game, but struggling to create any real defensive pressure. So 4-3 now. Just temporarily lost track of things there. My apologies.
Looks like there will be a timeout call, our first one of the half.
Yeah, it wasn't surprised me necessarily. Both sides thinking that offensively we're looking phenomenal, but defensively, are we really doing enough to trouble the other team? And that's what they're going to try and see if they can cook up coming out of this timeout. So while the two teams take a little bit of a breather, we'll do the same in the booth, and we'll be back with you very shortly. Welcome back to sunny Limerick, and I do not even say it ironically this time. Mixed Masters Division action here at the World Masters Ultimate Club Championships, brought to you by Ulti TV on the WFDF World Flying Disc Federation YouTube channel, with Fly High Lusanne from Switzerland up against India's Learning to Fly. No breaks, no turnovers even so far. And coming off the timeout, Learning to Fly trying to set up a little zone look, seeing if this can stifle the Swiss momentum. At the moment, doesn't really look like a chance. This is really humming away. Playing it short. T. Clemente. Guadagno. Might just that off to Lehman. Lehman swinging around. Space getting a little bit compressed now they're closer to the end zone. Do they stay patient or do they try and force it? Little dish inside. Continuation still not quite in the end zone. But on the precipice of the goal. Trying to punch it through. That one does work. I like the fact that Learning to Fly went for a different look. It just did not work for them.
The zone look that we saw there, definitely mixing it up. You were definitely right. After the timeout, we did see some different defense mixing it up, trying to stifle one of these offensive powerhouse teams. I mentioned before that Fly High has been playing together for 10 years. And we've got on the other side Learning to Fly from India. They've actually been a group since 2005. They started off as hiking friends, moved over to Ultimate in 2008. So they've also been playing together Ultimate for about 14 years now.
So these sides are kind of in the second set of power pools, achieved by finishing third in their pool. For Fly High Lausanne in the initial pool stage, a win over Chile Legends of South Africa 15-8 before losses to members only and Reading, whereas for Learning to Fly, they were in the 5-team pool that finished in a little bit of a topsy-turvy way. Went down 13-12 game 1 to MCP, but then a really strong win over Pie Wagon of Australia, 15-13. Went down 15-7 to Snowbirds before a really tight squeaker, 11-10 over Guambats.
And if you're thinking learning to fly, gee, that sounds like a familiar name. Have I heard that team name before? And maybe it's because you're a Pink Floyd fan, because their team name is actually named after the Pink Floyd song, Learning to Fly.
Good to know. Solid pull from Fly High. Petrified about mixing the two up. Oh, a little bit of a collision there. Kartik has the disc. Resets off. Srinivas. Michaela. This is again looking slick and looking very fluid. But now it stagnates a little bit and they find that shot through the end zone into Zemmel's hands again. Cannot stop scoring in this game. I think that's his third goal already.
3 out of 5 adding to the scoreboard yet again.
I mean, that is offensive impact. I know that they've played 5 games already, but averaging nearly 5 stats a game, that's a pretty good return for anybody. This time, catching the inside flick into the center of the end zone for the goal. Clearly seems to be a player that they are happy to do a lot of the legwork and run the offense through them, especially in the red zone when those spaces are tighter.
And if you're having trouble reading the numbers on your screen at home, if it's a small screen, 91 Zemmel is the red tights. Easy to follow on the field, so keep your eyes out for that one.
It's nice when your player to watch has got like a distinctive feature like that, doesn't it? So you always know where they are. It's like a nice little beacon. So swing to Guadagno will begin the possession. More zone from Learning to Fly. They clearly feel that they can force some mistakes or turnovers with this. Still rising, but they get it off. And now they're going back up the line. This might go deep. It is ripped just about high enough into the end zone. I thought for sure that was going to be the game's first turnover, but somehow it evaded the grasp of the defender and it's into the end zone for the goal and 5 apiece. What is going on? These teams are allergic to turnovers. Bonkers, absolutely bonkers.
Both have really strong O-lines. Clearly, that playing experience is coming through. They just are so used to each other. They know where each other's going to move. They know how each other throws. They know how each other runs. And just taking advantage of that clean offense.
I mean, on the one hand, lovely to watch. On the other hand, maybe you'd like these offenses made to work a bit harder. On the other hand, it makes Bucky's job easier tracking all the stats.
Fly High would also like to say hello to a few members of their team that unfortunately are not able to join them on the pitch today. Natalie, Jay, and Ulrika.
Yeah, 3 big losses, but you wouldn't necessarily know it from the way this game's gotten, with both sides really humming away offensively. I think the question is just how do you try and find a way to generate a bit more pressure on the defensive end? Rip deep. Now working underneath down the far side. Reset off that sideline, nicely activated. Zemmel catches the under. And shooting deep, trying to get this to fade over. This is a tricky, tough read, but really well made. Getting that just to draw over towards the break side, taking it over the head of the defenders, and it's 6-5 to Learning to Fly.
That was Wolfson on the other side of that catch in the end zone, also topping the scoreboard with Learning to Fly. 3 assists and 8 goals coming into this game. Perfectly positions herself in the end zone, looking for that beautiful arcing forehand from Zemmel.
I can scarcely recall having seen a cleaner game of Ultimate from an offensive perspective.
Certainly not this tournament anyway.
No, absolutely not. The conditions maybe not as bad as they have been at previous points in the weekend, but that doesn't necessarily mean that they're easy and that you can just take them for granted.
All the better, though, it's just building up that anticipation for that first turnover of the game. We know it's going to happen. It's got to happen at some point.
The way this is going, it could be that that one break is crucial.
One break.
So the pool caught by Fly High. Their blue tops and burgundy shorts.
Bit of a foul downfield as one of the defenders claiming the offending player just did a bit of a push off before cutting.
You're just tight, Jim. There's no one really behind you to post.
Okay, so making sure everyone's back in the same position. And what the stall count's going to be.
Nice spirit, fist bumping at the end of that, just to make sure each other is good and understanding, and that was a foul and no contest on that.
Dwadi Shah on the mark. There's a nice little upline play ran by Lehman. He's been solid as a rock in the hand, Lecor. So is Guadagno. Now he dumps, takes offline, plants back into the backfield. Wants the swing, it's not there. Does feel like the defensive pressure has been turned up on the dial. Shooting down the sideline, ooh, a couple of players there. I thought maybe they were going to get in each other's way, but a nice grab on the knees made by Bailly. Lehman fakes the flick, then looks at the backhand, might just dish this one off to Guadagno. Brilliant layout bid, comes through but doesn't get there. And now to the end zone, no. Game's first turn. It's happened at last. Maybe that's the pressure of that layout bid made him rush the throw.
We're getting a chance to see if this D-line has as clean an O as their O-line.
Yeah, they've set ridiculously high standards. Swinging it around the back at the moment. Struggling maybe to get some downfield movement. D-line's going to shoot it. Oh, it's tipped and it's going to be knocked away. Caught at the second attempt. Fly High get it back. And ripped down low towards the end zone. Did not get enough height of that. And that's his second turnover in as many passes for Guadagno. Another good break opportunity now for learning to fly. And given how tight teams have been with the disc, I think understanding that you want to make the most of this and call the timeout makes sense to me.
Both teams have been super patient and up until now with that disc and really having those smooth throws. And just those last couple of missed passes in this point, definitely a change of pace. So as those teams take a break, we will as well.
See you on the other side. Welcome back to Limerick for the World Masters Ultimate Club Championships live here at the University of Limerick, bringing you mixed masters action in this game with Learning to Fly up against Fly High Lusanne. After the first 11 points yielded 0 turnovers, somewhat unbelievably. We've had 3 this point, and Learning to Fly trying to cash in a good break opportunity for what would obviously be the game's first, with the previous points not having any turns.
Seeing a bit of a different look from this D-line with that vertical stack set up off the bat.
Just swinging back into their own end zone at the moment. So difficult position, blading it around. Finds the option. There's a player down. I think that is Bailly. Checks in. And turned over, the swing just doesn't connect. Fly High in no mood to hang about and making amends for the couple of turnovers at that point. Guadagno catches the little flick from Lehman for the goal to tie us level at 6s. Learning to Fly, generating turnovers for the first time in the game, but unable to do anything with them.
And we'll go into a 6-6, still no breaks in this game. And that's why when you are doing the flip at the beginning of the game, that can be super important to win the flip and choose offense as your first possession. And the reason you might do that is for situations just like this, when there are 0 breaks for the entire game, offense starting, the first team to be the one to score will be the one to break that tie in the end. I've only ever played 1 game in my entire life that actually happened that way. We had, it was back in Italy. I was playing for Traffic, and we were playing against Uno. 0 breaks for the entire game, and we won on Universe because we had started on O. We finished on O as well.
Was that for the World Ultimate Club Championships in 2014?
That was.
Out in Lecco.
That was the game for 5th place.
Nice. Very strong finish.
Behind 4 American teams.
Best of the rest. We've had a lot of worrying already this week, but testament to the quality of the venue here. Everything's drained really well. We'll see that we have moved pitches just to give the others a little bit of a rest. As Zemel fakes the big and it rifles it underneath. Wallison finding Sethuraman. Sethuraman wants to sit this one. It's going to hang a little bit, but not a problem. Lovely throw. Really good vision to see that option.
Visionary is what I was going to call that. She just sees her teammate at the back of the end zone on the far side, and that arcing backhand break finds him nice and cleanly sailing over all of the other players. Beautiful find.
So still on serve at 7-6. We're seeing it again. This is a really creative look. That rolling backhand over the top. Something we don't necessarily see that often, but I like it. Really good way to access that breakside space. Wind now blowing through, and it must admit it is bringing a bit of a chill. Also feels like everything's got slightly darker. Testing conditions, but so far it feels like both these sides have been given the cheat sheet.
And I wonder if we'll see a few more turns as this wind gets a little bit stronger here.
I'd be surprised if we saw fewer, given what we've seen so far. There's barely room to improve offensively for either side. Underneath, Berthiel. Back to Lehman, who is doing an awful lot of handling work this time. There's a stoppage. Lehman is really stepping up in this game.
There's been some really nice back and forth between her and Barclay this point. Just playing that little give-go up the field. And And here comes the rain as well.
Yeah. It is all of a sudden got a little bit more miserable weather-wise. Mercifully, we are under tents, but I'm not sure how much good it's going to do generally.
Not with the rain blowing sideways.
And not with this cold, chilling wind as well. Guadagno pick in the stack downfield. I don't think that will affect that pass.
Guadagno telling his mark he was a little further back before the stoppage, so he needs to back up again.
Swing from fly high. Central to the ever reliable Lehman. With the still count rising, gets the disc off to Guadagno. Leading assister on this team with 11.
One thing that Fly High is doing really well is once they decide to look for their reset handler, they just focus in and zero in on that person.
Towards the break side. Oh, wow, 2 receivers there. And laying out to make the snag in front of a teammate. Yannick Galland makes it 7-all. And we've got a nice Galaxy point to start the day, Troy.
Galaxy point for half, anyway.
Yeah, it's like Universe point, sudden death to win the game, but just smaller, sudden death to take half. It is not unimportant. I think sometimes you can understate it, but especially if you're Fly High and you can get the break here, you go up 8-7, you receive to begin the second half, you can get the old 2 for none, 2 back-to-back possessions, which you can't really get at any other time for the game, and it would really make that break almost count double as getting a replay of the score, and Fly High take a timeout to see if they can work out how to turn immaculate learning to fly offense. We'll take a breather here as well and make sure that we weatherproof everything, and we'll be back with you shortly. Welcome back to the World Masters Ultimate Club Championships from a wet and windy University of Limerick. OTTV providing the coverage for the World Flying Disc Federation YouTube channel, and it's a pleasure to have you along with us watching an insanely good mixed masters match. The quality of the offense has probably been unmatched this tournament. 7-all already, and we're only not even 40 minutes in.
We are looking at a double game point, universe point, galaxy point, whatever you want to call it, to take half right now with 0 breaks so far this game.
Yeah, and we've only seen 4 turnovers this game, and they all came on the same point. That's the sort of thing we've been looking at. So rolling backhand pull, skims off the turf, stopped and fielded by Srinivas. Downfield, dished off to Zemmel. Zemmel tries to get a poach block in there downfield, but it doesn't matter. Sithuraman's there anyway and resets to Zemmel. Zemmel around to Srinivas. Pick downfield. Could see them echoing that call on the far sideline, doing a very good job in doing so as well.
Yeah, pick has to be recognized by the thrower.
It's one of the things that you do like to see is the sideline echoing those calls on the field just to make it clear to everyone what's going on. Another stoppage, stall out maybe.
Contested stall down. So the patting on the top of the head is a stall down call. 2 fists bumping together in the middle means it is contested. So we generally see that people do count a bit fast on the mark, so I'm not surprised when you get contested stall downs.
I think it's also slightly natural when you get close to the ends to want to try and speed up to get to 10 quicker, but that is not how it works. Definitely feels like learning to fly being made to work harder on this possession. Zemmel wants to really shoot this through the middle of the pitch. What a throw from Zemmel. Really harpooned that in there. I think it's Akela with the grab and with the 8-7 half-time lead. What a half of ultimate.
Learning to fly, absolutely, just spreading the field, creating that space for Zemmel. That is something that only veteran Frisbee players and Frisbee teams can do. You see a lot of beginner teams tend to kind of hoard towards the disc, and I like to call them 5-year-olds playing soccer because they just want to surround the disc and be close to it all the time. It's really when you gain that experience that you learn to spread the field and create that space, which allows throwers like Zemmel to just shoot that one down the middle with absolutely no defenders and no other players in the way.
Yeah, the point about getting that middle of the field clear means that you do have those raking inside shots that have been so effective for learning to fly. So 8-7 they lead Fly High Lusanne here at half-time. Good opportunity for both sides and for our crew to get some water on, stretch off, maybe get a little bit of food on board. Don't go anywhere because the scintillating second half of this game continues on the other side.
He's in a great spot. He's in a perfect spot. Yes, his massive head has blocked everything. That was a huge play, but we have seen none of it. Finney, he's done it.
Bichon picks up, and they've got a short field. They've got another goal. It's tied up at 12. I cannot believe what I'm seeing
Can
here.
Lola Dam chase that one down? That is a score for Harslinger Elferkel. Fantastic run by Julia Love.
We're on a mission to make Ultimate huge.
And we believe that requires knocking down the paywall.
We want our videos and live streams to be free to watch, and we want them to go viral.
When you become a member, you enable us to improve our working relationships with tournament organisers, events and federations.
And you'll help us to produce live stories for Ultimate fans, and to generate new fans with our enhanced content.
We are a group of Ultimate players, coaches and video enthusiasts, and we want to bring you coverage on a more consistent basis. We want to make stories that not only reach you,
but also reach people outside the Ultimate community.
Ciao ragazzi, support the community.
And subscribe Ulti TV. There's lots of the videos, posting, everything. Check it out. They are the best one. Woo!
If you want to grow Ultimate Sports, become a member of Ulti TV.
Regardez Ulti TV. Deviens un membre d'Ulti TV et fais grandir ta communauté.
Top Ulti TV فيلم eroginkime Ultimate Avandromena. Si quieres ayudar a Ulti TV, puedes ser miembro de Ulti TV.
Everyone, follow Ulti.tv on Instagram, on YouTube. They've got everything.
Best content.
Like their pictures if you love Frisbee. Just do it.
We're counting on you.
Bli medlem på Ulti TV.
Became member
of Ulti.tv.
Mamma mia.
Contribue au développement d'Ultimate avec Ulti TV.
Like and subscribe. Ulti TV, the best in the world.
We want to grow Ultimate.
we want to grow Ultimate. We've worked with the major federations and the greatest events.
We have our signature style 2-camera setup,
With thousands of hours of experience,
and our crew is globally dispersed to facilitate coverage everywhere around the world. We can also scale back our broadcast with just one elevated camera, or scale up with 2 fields, 2 cameras, and 2 commentators on each.
we work with local teams and we all have the same mission, to grow the sport and bring it to new people by providing live coverage and news stories.
Become a member today on our Patreon page.
And fund our work to cover more events in the future and to bring more stories, ideas and live coverage to the eyes of the Ultimate world and beyond.
Welcome back to the World Flying Disc Federation YouTube channel. And we are live in Limerick for the World Masters Ultimate Club Championships. Second half of this mixed masters game about to begin, with Learning to Fly taking an 8-7 halftime lead over Fly High Lusanne. It is Benjamin Rees in the booth, joined by Troy Weston. And Troy, if you're like me, probably a little bit flabbergasted about the quality of offense we've seen.
It has been beautiful, clean O, save one point that we've had where there was a few turnovers, still managed to hold with no breaks. Every other offensive point has been absolutely clean, no drops or turns. I went and had an opportunity to speak with both teams at the halftime, and I will share with you in a minute what they told me.
We'll see if maybe we can find out something at this point. Back to zone, it looks like, from Learning to Fly. Previous time they played this, it was pretty much shredded by Fly High. But again, doing something different. I like it. Lovely low release to thread its way through that cup. Galland resets around. Nice continuation. Barkley going short. Wants to pop that into the end zone. And Guadagno finds Galland to even it up at 8 apiece. And that did not seem to fluster the Swiss at all.
I did, when I was speaking to Learning to Fly, they did tell me we were going to see something different. They wouldn't tell me what it was. I don't know if that was a bit of a different zone that we saw there. I believe in the first half they did have a 3-3-1 cup zone, and that did look like a 4-2-1 or a rabbit wall of some form. So it did look like they switched things up a bit, but you are totally right, Benji. It did not seem to rattle the Swiss one bit.
And probably the sign of an offense that is firing on all cylinders when you get faced with a new challenge and it does not even seem to challenge you, I guess.
Fly High, the Swiss, what they're shared with me they're going to do on the sideline differently is not a lot. They said they are going to just continue to work hard on defense and rely on their defenders to put enough pressure on the Learning to Fly team and wait for them to make a mistake.
Yeah. Nobody's perfect, I guess. Srinivas. It's pointed a stoppage downfield. Game being played in brilliant spirit. And the reset. Ashwini Lokanath. Back in Lokanath's hands. Fake Zemel. Doesn't like it. Goes instead to Sneha Patil. Looks like they're changing the force maybe, perhaps. Zemel goes around, collects the dish back. Nice, he sits that to throw for Patil. Patil centres, Kartik. Staying patient, there is a pick.
I love how you can hear the sideline of Learning to Fly yelling, Limerick, Limerick, Limerick. I'm assuming that is a play call that they've named after the city that we are now in.
Yeah, delighted to be here at the University of Limerick. Zemel collects a little pop pass. Wants to reset it around, but he lost his footings there slightly. And there's another downfield pick. I think you can tell that he's eyeing up, just maybe in the peripheral vision, that inside flick that has been devastating for Learning to Fly's offense. Instead of reset around, Zemel gets it back. Looking for the around break into space. Perfectly thrown into the hands of Naveen Durga. That'll make it 9-8 to Learning to Fly. Again, clinical in the extreme.
Just proving that Zemmel, as well as being that huge threat with that IO flick to the break side, just as threatening with that around backhand break to the break side. So if you shut down one, he just opens up the other.
Can we talk about the fallacy of no breaks?
Yes, and that call, that is something I definitely learned to stop saying to my teammates on the sideline a long time ago. So no breaks doesn't necessarily help the mark at all. You need to really start saying things like no around or no inside, something like that, because that's more specific with what kind of break.
Yeah, obviously the aim of the force is not to get broken. That's almost literally why you put them there. So rather than give them, as you say, just the generic feedback of no breaks, really trying to make those instructions more precise and more deliberate, so you can really find out how are we being broken. Is it inside? Is it around? High release, low release? That sort of adjustment. Gallon's been a really reliable option underneath. Potentially a marking infraction here.
I can see the learning to fly player saying foul, so possibly an offensive foul that was called, but they are chatting it out. We don't have the luxury of game advisors in this game. Sometimes we'll have game advisors on the sideline that will step in and help to clarify a rule or provide a point of view if necessary, but it's always up to the players, regardless of whether there is a game advisor there, to make the final call. And we're seeing some excellent spirit here as either spirit captains or potentially translators step in. It's sometimes can be quite difficult for these international teams to communicate with one another directly if neither of them speak the same language. And so usually there is an appointed translator on both teams to help clarify what the players are trying to say to each other.
One of the things we take for granted as native English speakers, native. You know what? I'll come in again. One of the things we take for granted as native English speakers, back of the net, is that Ultimate is written in our language, basically. All the rules, all the calls are in English. And so often when you get to these international tournaments, you get to two countries where English is not one of the dominant national languages. So trying to find that common ground of what language they can speak often can be tricky. Foul uncontested. That's part of the reason why hand signals are so useful at relaying the information. One of my favourite changes to the WFDF rulebook. I say of recent years, it's not even that recent anymore, it's nearly a decade old. Galland wants the inside break across the field. Was expertly thrown, but that's got to be a pick somewhere. There were a couple of players who had rooted to the spot.
An 8-8 score. This game is so tight. Still yet to see another turn apart from that 1 point.
This one is spicy. Shot towards the far sideline, but had position. And Bertzio brings it down to tie us again once more at 9s.
And you can see why the players have such faith in Bertzio, bringing that down in the end zone, adding another tally to his point score total of the weekend. 4 assists, 10 goals coming into this game. An unreal score.
Here's the replay. Bai shoots this, has position, but you always think about that defender. Prasanna Krishna Pujari is there. With a little bit of pressure, but actually what I quite liked is that Bertzio went up early, and I think the defender knew that, and then rather than kind of ploughing in and creating all sorts of contact, just maybe took the foot off the gas slightly.
That's one thing we've seen from this team, in both teams in general today, is there has there's definitely not been a lot of contact on the receiving end. Both teams playing very athletically and cleanly. So that's a really nice thing to see. And the score is now tied up at 9s. We didn't have our score updated for that last point, so it actually was 8-9 before that. So now it is tied again at 9s.
So this offensive masterclass continues. Wolerson to Zemmel, who really zips that flick. This is a huge yard gainer downfield. Patil makes the catch. Stoppage again. This learning to fly O-line hasn't turned the disc over yet this game, remember.
Just clean, crisp passes all the way down the field.
Oh, that's spicy.
The curse of the commentator strikes again.
The commentator's curse isn't a thing, but if you do believe it, that's evidence for it. What can fly high do? Waten. Gift goes. Just going between the hands at the moment. Not really finding any motion downfield. Swung across towards the far sideline. Again, just playing it short. Now they're trying to take the shot to the end zone. On the end zone line, defender put the bid in but couldn't get there, and just the miscommunication on the end zone. Agonizing. So close to the game's first break. But Picard and Barkley just couldn't quite synchronize with each other.
That was the first time this Fly High Lausanne team actually, the D-line got to touch the disc at all. That was one thing they mentioned in the halftime, is that we really want our D-line to touch the disc.
Again, another zipped inside flick. So Thurman goes to Pakela. Dished up line. Srinivas, okay, Sisa. Zemmel. Right into the gut of Srinivas. On the far sideline with Sneha Patil. Wants to go in. Zemmel up line. Has the man beat and goes into the end zone for 10-9. Came so close to the game's first break, but by hook or by crook, Learning to Fly got it back and they put it in for 10-9.
I really like the play that we saw. It looked like that was just a set play that they have planned right from the get-go on their end zone line. It's something in North America that we call a super tree, and here we'll have a final look at that.
A super tree?
Yes, as soon as the replay, we'll have a look at this first, and then I will. So it's just a nice finish there, good patience. So a super tree is when you've got the disc either in the middle or on one sideline, and the first three cutters in front of you kind of clear out of the space, usually deep, and then that fourth cutter on the very far sideline is the one that comes across, streaking across the field to get the disc. And the reason that play works and is continuing to work for Learning to Fly is because that fourth cutter's defense is usually poached a little bit deep on the outs, on the back side of them, not expecting that undercut.
Yeah, they're sitting there so they can try and prevent those deep looks. As you say, you clear out that huge space for that weak side cutter to attack. Potential ways of defending it. Maybe seeing if you can call a switch, or when you see it like that, just getting someone to sit in that space, maybe trying to anticipate that sort of set play.
And with flick breaks, flick IO inside breaks like Zemmel has, that is a great play.
Lehman just wants to float this underneath. That was a tight contested catch, but Galland made it regardless. And now Galland jacks it to the end zone. Defender's there, and defender gets the block. But both players land slightly heavily. See it again now on the replay. Gallon's looking deep for Bailly. Harry definitely gets the block cleanly, but there is contact between the two of them afterwards. Trying to be helped to his feet. I hope that he's not damaged, he's not hurt that right shoulder, because otherwise being pulled up like that will not be doing him the world of good.
And while Gallant was in a power position there coming up that sideline for that, setting up that huck beautifully, that same third of the field shot to someone striking in the same spot as you is quite a difficult read, quite a difficult throw. You really need to pinpoint accuracy with that kind of throw. If you instead wait for a cutter that is coming from the far side of the field, or a different third at least from where you're throwing, then you get that space for the cutter to hang on to it. It looks like there was a bit of a call on the play, but we did see that on the replay. It did look fairly cleanly defended there, and so the call will be retracted and it will be a turnover. Not surprising on that injury sub, we see Zemmel coming in to help this D-line for Learning to Fly.
Sensing that now this is the opportunity for the break, bringing over arguably their main offensive threat to the D-line. Zemmel jogs the last few steps to the line. Goes for the USAU ground check. She actually not required to do under WFTF rules, but old habits die hard. On the sideline is Jagadish. Again, just really squeezing it down this far sideline. And here's the jack deep. Galland tries to put the defensive on, but it's not going to work because it fades towards the far sideline. Prasanna Krishna Pujari catches for the game's first break. 10-9 Learning to Fly lead.
What exciting. You can see all the Learning to Fly players just rushing the field, congratulating that D-line. The first break of the game that we see, and that is a huge deal in a game like this where it's been 10-9 up until this point, 19 points with 0 breaks, which is almost unheard of, especially in this Limerick weather. What an exciting, exciting score.
Yeah, had their player beat deep. Galland noticed and tried to get in the way, but the disc just drew over her head. Nothing she could do. And then into Fly. Catch for the break, and now we're going to have a timeout called on the field. So while we stretch ourselves off and the players do the same, we'll rejoin you in a couple of minutes.
He's in a great spot. He's in a perfect spot. Yes, his massive head has blocked everything. That was a huge play, but we have seen none of it. Finney, he's done it.
Welcome back to the World Masters Ultimate Club Championships here at the University of Limerick, live on the World Flying Disc Federation YouTube channel. WFDF supporting and promoting the global advancement of disc sports and spirit of the game, most importantly of all. And you saw other trails for our other sponsors. VC, the official tournament merchandiser, outfitting the world's best players since 1998 and doing so very fashionably and comfortably. I must say that the volunteer gear that we've been supplied is more than doing the job. 120 volunteers from 20 different countries working hard to make this event a success. So if you are out and about in Limerick today and you see any of the volunteers, just make sure to give them your thanks.
Volunteers are the ones wearing the bright orange shirts. If you're from North America, don't mistake them for an observer. We have no observers at this tournament. They are the volunteers.
Yeah, volunteers, game advisors, crew, media, physios, all sorts of people giving up their time to help make this event a success. As that is a rip from Guadagno, who's going to require a tough read, but made expertly by Berzio. Now wants to keep the disc moving, gets it past the bidding defender, sees the option in the end zone. That's a nice way to answer coming out of the timeout. Getting a little bit of energy with that deep shot for Fly High Lusanne. Now the question is, can they find the break as they cut the deficit to 1 at 11:10?
They haven't found a break yet. When I did speak with them at the at the halftime, they were just going to amp up the pressure on their person or match defense, not switching anything up at this moment in time, waiting to see if Fly High waiting to see if Learning to Fly will get tired, maybe make a mistake. And seeing as how the game is going so far, I'm not sure that that's the call that I would make.
No, I think I'd definitely try and change things up, because at the moment they do not really look like getting tired to me. I think they've probably got energy for days, and it looks like we've got another timeout call here. Interesting to see 2 timeouts so close together, Troy.
It is, and maybe they just needed a little extra moment to chat with their D-line about doing something different, or maybe a pep talk or an amp-up talk to get them really fired up for this D-point.
And for Learning to Fly, offensively, probably more of the same, you think?
I don't think I'd switch anything up. If it's not broke, don't fix it. But Learning to Fly would like to take a minute to thank their sponsor, Zenoti. A couple of their players work for that company, and they just want to thank them for helping them get here.
Yeah, it's not an insignificant feat for players coming from around the world to represent their teams and their countries here on the lush green Limerick fields here at the University of Limerick. And I love tournaments like this because you really get that international flavour.
Learning to Fly is actually a fairly international team, although a lot of them have their citizenship from India. There are players that are coming from all over the world: San Francisco, Toronto, Amsterdam, Seattle, Pittsburgh, and of course the majority from Bangalore.
Reset to Zemmel. Zemmel with a shot towards the far sideline. Just doesn't get enough air underneath it. Wollerson can't snatch it.
And that could be the break right here that Fly High needs.
Second time the Learning to Fly O-line has turned it over, and they very nearly turned it right back, and this might be a foul call here from Picard on the contact from Kartik.
I feel like if there was just a little bit of communication there between number 2 and 53 on Fly High, she could have mentioned, "Oh, I'm right here, I'll catch that, you don't need to reach that," because she was in a perfect position to just run onto that.
It looks like maybe on that second effort, when they're both kind of reaching out for the disc, there's maybe a bit of a nudge in the back. Foul is uncontested, and so stays with Fly High's D-line. Kowalka dumps back. Noemi Guadagno down to Gallon. He's coming over to placing defense. And a stoppage downfield, I think, for a pick.
Fly High just knocking on the door of their first break. They really need this to tie the game up and stay with them, because if it continues to be clean offensive points for the rest of the game, Learning to Fly will come out on top.
Even with this break, if that's the only one, then Learning to Fly would come out on top. Lausanne need a pair. But rather than think we need 2, start with the 1 first.
1 throw at a time, 1 point at a time.
Checked back in. Gallon breaks central for Picard. Back to Gallon. Jean-Baptiste Picard just about finds that one and then threaded into the front of the end zone.
Gallon just proving she has just as nice an IO break as Zemmel. Possibly not as many yards as Zemmel's has been, but beautifully executed nonetheless.
Yeah, equally as effective. Finding Nduentu in the front of the end zone. And no sooner had Learning to Fly got the break, but Fly High Lausanne put in their O point, and then they get it back. So we're tied at 11s.
But you were right earlier. Fly High will need one more break if they want to come out on top in this game. At least one more, anyway.
We'll say that yesterday evening, after we had a little bit of spot of dinner in the paddocks, we went to the stables to enjoy a 568 milliliter glass of Irish festivity, and there was a live Irish band there who were very much entertaining the crowd. And I will say that as we were very into it, as were some of the players from Fly High Lausanne, having a good little dance off, which was nice to see again. People from all over the world enjoying a bit of Irish culture here in Limerick. So the pool goes deep. Caught by Zemmel, and the first pass is to Patil. Lausanne sideline trying to get a bit louder now. Ripped into the gut of Sithuraman down the sideline. What a throw. Hits Akela in stride, who's been a really effective deep option for them. Nice, calm, confidence boosting hold for Learning to Fly to put them back in front at 12-11.
And that was just a really brilliant shot down that sideline. Learning to Fly proving they are not rattled by the break.
Not at all. Again, really zips those throws to Zemmel. But this one, from Sithuraman, it's all about the touch. Just past the outstretched arm of Presumi. And this game, very nearly at its conclusion, has been a bit of a clinic from both sides. How can it be 12-11 and not even 75 minutes on the clock?
With the clean offensive points we've seen, that's how. And definitely, if you're looking for some clean offense to watch, this is the game to do it in.
Definitely one you can, watch back. You can watch back all of the games this week, live and for free, for posterity as well, on demand, on the World Flying Disc Federation YouTube channel, thanks to your friends here at Ulti TV. Lehman wants to find it through the cup. Dishes instead to Guadagno. Faking that over the top, but might go short. There's a foul downfield. Quickly resolved. Pretty sure that has zero effect on that throw into the cup.
This is true, but a foul does mean that this is a stoppage, so sometimes it will go back to the thrower anyway.
Yeah, we'll see what resolution the players come to. I think they're all happy for Lehman to keep it in her grasp. Now Guadagno. Learning to Fly going back to the zone just to see if they can find something different. Little crash in, stretches, but Lehman makes the catch anyway, low, and bounces off the hand. The zone gets the turn it wanted. Call is for Limerick, so whatever set play that is for Learning to Fly. I mentioned that earlier. It is nice seeing them try and, adopt some of the local lingo.
Earlier, I actually thought it was a call for end zone, but being so far away from the end zone now, hearing the call, I think I was wrong.
Devanathan comes underneath. Reset around the back. Screaming to get the disc underneath and had to slow down ever so slightly, and that meant Knights could get the run through D. Now Learning to Fly have to try and get back on defense, but they can't do it as Fly High fly right into the end zone. And that'll be a bookend as well for Erica Knights. 12-all.
When you get that run through D and then just book it to the end zone, you have to be rewarded with that wide open cut, and her teammates definitely follow through for her, giving her double happiness in that point. Beautiful way to get that back.
Yeah, went coast to coast, got the D, and then just never stopped running. 1, 2, and then Bertzio, more of a receiver himself than necessarily a thrower, but that's a look that he's not going to be able to resist. 12s.
It is exciting.
Who's going to win? I have no idea. Sometimes you feel like, okay, we're late in the game, but you've just got a gut feeling about this. You've got faith in one team to clutch it out over the other. This time, it feels like they're so evenly matched. I've got no idea.
No, I don't think I could put money on it either way at this point. There's been a lot of clean O points, and so if you believe that there's not going to be another break point, it will be Learning to Fly come out on top. But Fly High have proved that they can get a D and they can capitalize on it now, and they have gotten breaks, and so, or break.
And there is the turn, yeah, just as you were saying. Trying to find Patil downfield, but Poacher got the block. Now rising stall count, just a floaty little hammer to the break side. Bertzio's come over to play a bit of defense. See that both teams might now be shortening their lines. Doesn't find the reset, has to shoot it towards the back of the end zone. Is it brought down? I don't think it was.
So close. Unreal.
Yeah, Poacher nearly got her own bookends there, but just found themselves in a Learning to Fly sandwich.
I do apologize, by the way, if our stream has been cutting in and out this morning. We did have to change pitches as we didn't want to ruin the grass and the lovely pitches that they do have here at Limerick, so we had to move fields. We've been a little bit shoddy with the internet at this new pitch, but...
Drop on the end zone line. This is the opportunity now for Fly High Lausanne to take their very first lead of the game. What a time to do it. But the stall is rising. Can't find anything. Going for the hammer, and foul called on the throw, maybe? No. I thought there was a little bit of the slapping of the hands together, but it's just in frustration. Zemmel underneath to Woolerson. Back into Zemmel's hands. You can feel there's a bit more intensity about this encounter now. Trini Lochanath goes back to Zemmel. Zemmel uncorks it deep, and it is bang on the money. 13-12 Learning to Fly. But maybe they got away with one a little bit there.
You can't say that Fly High didn't have the chance to get that break there, because they did, and they were on the doorstep twice. That is heartbreak for Lusanne. And I can see some of the players coming off just blaming themselves for that little bit of a miscommunication or whatever it was, just not being able to finish off that point for Lusanne. But what an important hold that Learning to Fly came away with there.
Yeah, how they got away with it, I'm not quite sure. Nearly the deep shot that came off, but was just about defended. And then, again, turnover right on the end zone line, but they played outstanding defense in that end zone, and the hammer didn't come off. So 13-12 Learning to Fly lead. Sliding to stop the roll. Guadagno and Lehman want to get the disc moving quickly here. Not allow the Learning to Fly zone to get set. Snatching it. Bailly into Guadagno. Motions where he wants to see his teammate, and then breaks it through that cup, and a foul called.
You can see emotions running high, and Limerick I think now means chilly is what I'm thinking it probably means for learning to fly. That's my guess anyway.
So rain beginning to, I was going to say trickle down, that's not quite true. Just a slightly heavier drizzle, I'll go with.
Players are just talking a little bit about the resolution of what should be happening.
Going to go back into Guadagno's hands. Interesting if he tries to take that option again, or whether he instead goes to the near side to Barkley, and that is what he does. Barkley finds the space to go to Lehman. Lehman back to Barkley here, getting a little dish off, and bump in the back. Uncontested foul, I think, to the surprise of no one.
Learning to fly certainly putting a little more intensity in on their defense now, so might see a couple more of those bumps that sometimes can just come inherently with amping up.
Now a nice flow towards the far sideline, Knights. To Guadagno. Showing an overhead there, but in a tight game, maybe reticent to put it. Continuation to the end zone for the goal for Lusanne. Bertzio with the score, 13 apiece.
And Bertzio is in fact actually a math teacher by day, offensive and defensive speedy cutter by evening or at ultimate practice. So big hello to all of Bertzio's maths students out there watching this feed today. Just taking another look at that really nice pass into the end zone. Really patience, a lot of patience there from Lehman. And she's got some fans at home that she would like to say hello to. Her boyfriend Flavienne, her parents Lawrence and Elaine, mom Monica, and sister and family Natalie, Renaud, Melissa, and Jenna. So hello to you all right from here in Limerick from your Lehman.
$13 apiece. Game ticking into a captivating conclusion here. Both sides 2 points away from victory.
I'm on the edge of my seat. I don't know what's going to happen.
I mean, I'm not on the edge of my seat because I stood up long ago because I couldn't take it anymore.
It's a figure of speech, Benji.
Nice break around. Wylerson finds Zemel, slashing downfield, wants to sit this one out into space. What a peach of a throw that one. Just rolls his wrist across it, sits it out into space. Brilliant throw. And if I was in Akela's position, I'd be excited to receive that as well. 14-13.
Get to have another look at that spicy throw.
I mean, there's not a huge window there. You've got to get that edge just right to roll it around the defender, but executed brilliantly.
And this is Akea's first national experience, first national team. His sporting hero, Johnny Bansfield. He loves his defensive intensity, and he wants to say hi to his parents.
So we're going to get another timeout here on the field just before this game comes to its climax, and we'll take the opportunity just to take a tiny breather, and we'll be back with you shortly. welcome back to Limerick for the World Masters Ultimate Club Championships. Mixed Masters Division action, learning to fly up 14-13 on Fly High Lausanne in a game with crazy high quality offense. Broadcast brought to you in association with our partners, including Discraft, the world leader in disc sports, including manufacturers of the Ultrastar, which has been the gold standard in Ultimate almost since its inception.
And what a game it has been. Only one break apiece for each of these teams. It is so exciting. A nail biter, if I do say so myself.
So the pull from learning to fly. There is a bit more rain in the air now. Pull caught, and they've gone back to playing match defense. They were going with zone. Maybe they can get caught out by the transition back into a more traditional one-on-one offense. Violation, so possibly a marking infraction.
We can see learning to fly really tightening their O-line or their D-line. Zemmel, usually a mainstay of their O-line, is on the field, red tights and all.
Making him an instantly recognizable figure. Sneha Patil to come over to play defense as well. Barkley, the lefty. Coming underneath is Bertzio. Going downfield, pick called. I let it go to the sideline.
Kind of looked like she just let that one go as the pick was called, thinking, oh, I don't need to catch this because the pick was called. It will go back anyway.
I always think you should try and make the catch anyway, just in case.
Well, if it were North American rules, she would have had to. But both these teams being well versed in the WIFDIF rules, didn't need to.
Checked in, back in Bertzio's hands, violation, maybe a bit of early movement downfield, got some eager beavers there, clearly. Now Bertzio wants to put that to the reset, it floats a little bit, but not really a problem for Lehman in the end. Doesn't have a reset here. Can she find an option on a high stall? The option is to put it deep, and it is put deep perfectly in stride. 14 apiece. Guadagno catches the goal to send it to Universe.
And that's a smart throw that we saw. Just floating it out into space when you're at a high stall count and looking for that just space on the field, allowing your cutters to just run onto it. Lehman, again, just proving her experience time and time again. High stall count, no resets available. I'm just going to put this into space.
Yeah, put it deep, but rather than just put everything behind it, just sit it there. Give an opportunity for someone to make a play, put it in space, and actually, I don't think it could have been executed any better.
It almost looked like that was planned. I don't think it was, but now we're going to see our two teams putting on their Universe lines as we go to this Galaxy point. Learning to fly, needing to, again, just keep their clean offense and score this point. Fly high, looking for their only second break of the game. As I mentioned before, there's only been one break apiece in this absolutely clinically offensive game.
So here we go. Sudden death, Universe, next goal wins. Fly high will pull.
And if you're wondering why it is not a win by 2 situation since we haven't reached time cap, it is still a hard at 15 cap. And that's why this is Universe point.
Yeah, always 15 is the hard score cap. So there's the pull, coming deep from Wasser. Fielded, Zemmel moves it quickly into the hands of Lokanath. Back to Zemmel, Rain driving down a little bit more strongly. He's showing the inside flick that he's found to be so fruitful this game. Now Zemmel has it back in his hands, trying to create a bit of movement at the back. Pick downfield.
Fly High doing a good job holding the handlers and downfield cutter defenders, not giving a lot of options downfield. Learning to Fly having to put it back and forth to their handlers a bit to see if they can get more movement.
Everyone set quite a way downfield. Would make any passes good yard gainers, but does make them a little bit more difficult, and they can't connect.
Berzio with the D. What an incredible run through D there. That is exactly what Lusanne need right now.
And here is the timeout that I think was potentially always going to come. I think part of the problem there for Learning to Fly was the handler defense was consistently forcing them back, and the downfield cutters weren't adjusting, so they were really far away. It means that you can, yes, you can get some nice gainers on the under, but there's also plenty of time for the opposition to come up and take that inside line and charge through, as Berzio did there.
Fly High just putting so much pressure on those handlers and those cutters, just providing no upfield options whatsoever. A really smart heads-up run through D by Berzio there. And we're going to see right now if the Fly High D-line can capitalize on that important D.
So you've got the disc relatively central here, probably 3/4 of the way down the pitch. About what do you think they're going to draw up here?
I think it's got to be a set play. I didn't see who picked up the disc to call the timeout, so I'm not sure who's on the disc right now.
I think Guadagno.
Makes sense. That absolutely makes sense.
Yeah, they're arguably their main thrower. 11 assists this tournament coming into this game, nearly 3 a game, and he's just burgeoned that stat total even further here. Or I was wrong, and I didn't see who actually called the timeout. It looks like it was Wasser in the end.
They've got a fairly usual setup here. I know Fly High is really good about sticking to what they know and working hard at their preset things that they have worked so hard to get to this point with. And so they have a vertical stack in the end zone, 3 handler set, 4 cutters, giving each other lots and lots of space.
Yeah, the front two look like they're going to operate as a pair as the disc is checked in. And they're looking for the up line. It's a little bit fluttery and floaty, but Lehman makes the catch, swings to Guadagno. Guadagno low to the far side, Gallon. Can they force it in there? Into the end zone! Break for the win! It's the first time that Lusanne have led all game, and they do it on Universe.
Unreal end to this game. 3 breaks the entire game, 1 on the last point, Universe point. Man, Fly High Lusanne must be flying high right now. What a finish.
Unbelievable. I'll tell you what, sometimes we know how to pick them, don't we? Learning to Fly 14, Fly High Lusanne 15 is the final score. Look at this again on the replay. Gallon fakes the backhand. The force bites on that maybe a little bit too strongly, and it frees that window, and it is fired in there. What a game. These two sides have put on an absolute clinic. So someone from Learning to Fly wants to, again, thank their sponsors who allowed them to make the trip here to Limerick, where they have put on an absolute blockbuster of a game for us.
I have to say that's probably one of the best matches that I've seen this far. The conditions just helped out so much in letting this game go on without much interference, and the offensive plays from both of these teams. Wow, I'm going to come back and watch this one later. Absolutely wonderful.
Yeah, you can watch all the games this week from Limerick. We've got 2 pitches for you now until the end of the week, live and on demand for free on the WFDF YouTube channel, thanks to our Ulti TV crew, and this broadcast is copyright 2022 of the World Flying Disc Federation. So for all of our Ulti TV crew, thank you very much for watching what has been an absolute cracker of a game. For the inimitable Troy Weston, I am Benjamin Rees, saying we will see you on the other side.
Ulti.tv